My name is Michael Hicks. I am your host with the most. Today we've got a very fun, important guest. But before I get into our important guest today, there's a word from our sponsors. Unlock your true full potential with Live to Thrive Life Coaching. Are you ready to transform your life one step at a time? At Live to Thrive, we believe in the power of small, consistent improvements. Our unique framework focuses on becoming 1% better in mind, body, and soul every day. What do we offer? I'm glad you asked. The mind. We develop a growth mindset, enhance your mental clarity, and conquer challenges with confidence. We also include the body, embrace healthy lifestyles, boost energy levels. You get 3 published ebooks and achieve your fitness goals via your phone. Workouts are sent via your phone. And obviously, soul, your purpose. Discover your true purpose, cultivate inner peace, and live a fulfilling, balanced life. As a dedicated life coach with over 25 years of experience, I will guide you on a journey to personal excellence, helping you overcome obstacles and reach new heights. Together, we'll create a customized plan, tailored program to your unique needs and aspirations. Join Live to Thrive today and start living your best purposeful life. Contact us and apply for a free consultation at www.livetothrive.com. Unlock better sleep and pain relief with CBD oil. Amish tested. Check this out, y'all. Struggling with sleepless nights or constant aches and pains? Our premium CBD oil, tested and trusted by the Amish community, is your solution for natural relief and restless nights. Special offer for Framing New Heights listeners. For a limited time, receive 50% out at checkout with promo code New Heights. Why choose CBD oil? Well, I'm going to tell you why. It's Amish tested, proven quality with effectiveness, better sleep, say goodbye to restless nights and hello to peaceful slumber, and pain relief. Soothe those aches and pains naturally and effectively. Don't miss out. Make sure to visit envitamins.com and use promo code New Heights at checkout to claim your 50% discount offer. Join the Framing New Heights community and start living a pain-free and well-rested today. I am got the luxury today of bringing on a very, very important guest. We had some issues the last time attacking this, but he is here today, nonetheless. He is a father. He is an avid TikToker, because that's actually where I got most of. That's actually the reason why we connected. But he's also a business owner, and he's got some really unique stories and things of that nature that he's about to share with us today. Please welcome the one, the only, Mason Odle. Mason, how are you?
I'm doing great, Coach Mike. Thank you for having me on again, and we'll do this take 2 times.
Hey, so tell everybody your story.
Technical difficulties happen all the time.
They
You
do.
just gotta roll with it. It's part of the journey.
It is, and I appreciate your flexibility on that completely. So tell us a little bit about your story. You got a really cool family. Tell us a little bit about where you're from, what you're about. Tell us your business, your brick and mortar business. There's a new thing too, Monster with Mason. Kind of break us down. What is all that about?
Yeah. So I grew up here in Indianapolis, born and raised my whole life. I met my wife at a very young age. We got married at 21 and 19. Shortly had 3 daughters. After that, 2 years apart. Started a corporate job, worked there for 17 years. At the end of that, my career there, I was let go unexpectedly and had to make a decision on whether I wanted to continue down a corporate world, down that career path, or possibly pivot and start my own business and take control of my future and what we were going to do as a family into my hands, as opposed to allowing it to be decided by somebody else. So I did pivot. I started my own business. I had early in my life, I made a very poor decision, probably one of the worst decisions I could have ever made. And I feel like, honestly, I feel like most times some of our worst decisions tend to lead us to the path that we're really supposed to go down. We just
Yeah.
sometimes we don't know it. But the awful decision I made was to start smoking. And I did that one because at the time, at the place that I worked, you couldn't get a break unless you were a smoker. So I picked up smoking so that I could go take a break.
Oh,
And then that obviously just s- stayed with me as I grew up and was around people who continued to smoke, and it just became a habit. And I smoked for 19 years, tried everything under the sun to try to quit smoking, and was finally introduced to vaping. And it was October of 2013 when I first tried a vape device, and 30 days later, I was smoke free. I hadn't touched a cigarette during that time frame. And then fast forward to February of 2014, I was unexpectedly released from my job, and it was sort of a perfect mix of timing for me. I had always been had an entrepreneur mindset, but starting a new business, when you always look for something that's on the ground level and starting to come up, and vaping was new at the time, and it just made sense for me. And I was at this point, I was 6 months now smoke free, which is the longest I had ever been using patches, lozenges, gums, Chantix, you name it, hypnotism. None of that worked. Vaping worked for me. And if it could work for me, I felt like I could help bring the story to other people and help them quit smoking the same way I did. So that's how I started my first business.
yeah. So you own, what's the name of it? It's vape. What is it? What's the name of your business?
It's called Just Vapor.
Yeah, just vapor. And you had a cool story when we attempted to talk last time about you really kind of have helped people quit the habit of smoking cigarettes, right?
Yeah, that's the number one reason why I started the business in the first place was because I had such a struggle trying to quit myself. Like some of the other things, the nicotine replacement therapies like the gum and lozenges and the patches, they can help partially with the addiction in giving you the nicotine that you need, but sometimes it does not replace the habit that most people, the oral fixation that a lot of people become accustomed to.
Yeah.
And vaping did that. It gives me the nicotine that I needed, and replicating the habit that I had before. So it was just it really is a replacement versus of a better nicotine delivery system than what smoking is.
You know, your story is unique, and I kind of want to go back a little bit because you're a humble Midwest guy, and where you grew up in Indiana. Tell us exactly where you grew up, and did that affect who you are today?
100%. Like I grew up in Indianapolis. Um, my parents started very young as well, 18 and 20 when I was the reason my parents got married. And that was in the 70s, that sort of get pregnant, you do the right thing, the responsible thing, and you marry the woman. And my parents are still married. They've been married for 47 years. Um,
And you have Sunday,
I
you have
have
Sunday dinners.
we have dinner every Sunday with my family, my
Yeah.
mom and dad, my daughters, my two brothers, and all of their families. So every Sunday, it's It's about 17 people on average, depending on who's got soccer practice or gymnastics or other things that are happening. But yeah, every Sunday is Sunday dinner. So,
I love it.
but yes, I grew up in Indianapolis. We're Midwestern. We have that hard work mentality. I grew up. My dad was a smart guy, but we never needed anything, but wanted everything.
Hmm.
So if we wanted something outside above and beyond what my parents were going to provide, you had to figure out how you were going to obtain that, and that
Wow.
meant typically getting a job, finding ways to make money. So we were all I was always trying to find ways to make money at the age of 13. That's the youngest you could get a work permit in Indiana. I got a worker's permit, and I was working in the cafeteria at my middle school, making money. I thought it was the best thing. It was the best thing in school. I was making money. I was the one kid that was actually making money while they were at school, outside of doing other extracurricular activities, selling things at school, candy, just candy, not anything bad.
Yeah.
But yes, I sold candy to make money. Um, always been had that entrepreneurial spirit.
Let's have a fun question for you. What's the best compliment you've ever received and why? Do you think?
Um, so when we first opened Just Vapor, um, a gentleman who I went to school with came in, and he was smoking at the time, and he wanted to quit smoking. So he came to see me. I showed him a device, and he has now been 10 years smoke free. He is, and he's come back in. I see him every week, Matt Scott. Um, and he is he tells me that I owe my life to you, Mason, because you helped me get off of smoking and change my life. And that's really what it's about. It's not only getting people to get off of cigarette smoking, but also if you get that individual off of the cigarettes, it affects their spouse, their kids, all of the people around them. So it's a ripple effect that you can, while you can physically touch one person, you have an effect on all of the people around them. And I think that's a huge thing.
You know, that whole smoking is very near and dear to me. I lost my mom from being a chronic heavy smoker. She started at the age of 14 years old, and it got so bad that she lived her life at the end on she had chronic emphysema, COPD, she had an oxygen tank, just absolutely miserable. Which kind of brings me into this question is why do you think you're so passionate on what you do, Mason?
Not just affects me, and over the course of my 19 years of smoking, towards the end of the my path of my smoking career, we'll say, every morning I would wake up, I was coughing up brown phlegm every morning. It was tough to walk upstairs. It was truly affecting my life, and I didn't like the way that it made me feel. Then I switch. I find something that can help me quit, that worked for me. I no longer feel that. I don't have those side effects that I got from smoking cigarettes, and it truly did change my life for the better. And knowing that I there are no, I feel like some people accept things that happen to them and are okay with just accepting it as it is and are okay with that. I want everybody to know. I it This is a something that can be fixed, it can be addressed, it can be attacked and changed for the better. And the misinformation around the vaping product is really what's aggravating to me more than anything else, knowing that we have a path that we can have 500,000 smokers get off of and show them the path. And it's based on the handcuffs that we have, we really can't say that it is a truly smoking cessation product. But I've seen firsthand that it is, it can be. I've introduced it and changed the lives of thousands of people in my local community. So I know it is possible.
Yeah, and that's so beautifully said. This whole podcast is about how you bring value to other people, and whether you agree or you disagree, you're getting people off of tobacco, which we know is an absolute killer. And you should really be proud of yourself for that, Mason. Let me ask you this, Mason. How do you want to be remembered? How does Mason Odle want to be? How do you want to be remembered?
Uh, as a great father, supportive father, wonderful husband, and somebody who made a difference in other people's lives, like being able to touch and change the way people think and having a truly profound effect on people is I feel like it really should be a goal of everyone. um, we're we're not in this isn't a solo sport life. um, it's team effort, and the more people that we can get along to come along with us and we can raise everybody's boats, that's should be the point, instead of just trying to keep my boat afloat. So
I love that. And one thing too that I really like about what you do on TikTok, and for those listeners that are listening, that's how Mason and I kind of connected on TikTok. I really like. So I'm going to just kind of paint the picture for our listeners, and I kind of want you to maybe go in a little bit on it. Is so Mason walks his dogs. I don't know if it's in the morning. I'm assuming it's in the morning, whenever it is. But he always has these awesome mindset quotes by so many other people. And being a mindset coach myself, I really appreciate that. And why do you involve in like mindset coach quotes daily? Like what started that for Freedom Fathers? Can you kind of go in a little bit on that?
sure. Starting a business is not just about having a great product and or a great service and great location. If you want to be a business owner, everything ultimately lands on your shoulders. And if you do not have a the right mindset, the right mentality to be able to handle all of that, it can become crushing. And that's why I believe most businesses don't make it in the long haul, is because you don't keep a proper mindset. The beginning is the hardest, bar none. But being a business owner of 10 years now, which I believe that the stat is like 73% of businesses don't make it past 10 years. So it's the fact that knowing that every day can be and probably will be different, and there's going to be a new set of problems that arise, and you have to be the one that comes up with the solution. You don't get to pass the buck to somebody else as a business owner. It's okay, no, how do I address this? How do I learn how to fix this situation because I don't know everything? And having a flexible, growth oriented mindset. And that's why I do the mindset motivation quotes in the morning is one. The whole point is I walk my dogs every day. And mindset is an everyday exercise. It's not a hey, I read a book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I read that 6 months ago. I don't implement anything out of it or very few things, but I read it. Mindset is an everyday occurrence, something that you have to exercise, just like
Yeah.
coach coach works out every day. It's um, it's a mental exercise that you have to work on, and that's why I do it with my dogs to show that we do this every day. Mindset is an everyday situation. It's
I
not.
like, yeah, I like what you said there, Mason, is you said something about knowledge. And I like to paint this picture for everybody. When I get on a journey call, I always ask these people this question, and most people get it wrong. And I ask them, is knowledge power? The majority of people say what?
Yes.
They say yes. So that's a fixed mindset. The real question is applied knowledge power. That's a growth mindset, right? You can pick up a book, you can read a book. If you're not implementing the tactics and the strategies along with it, how good is knowledge then? I like what you said there. Do you have any regrets?
Oh, sure.
What are they?
Tons.
Let's hear them.
Um, Originally, one of my biggest regrets was picking up cigarettes for the first time. Um, but that has turned into a blessing. Um, Probably for me, the biggest regret is I started my college career to become an actor. I went to Butler University. Um, I loved theater. I still love theater. I love theater. Um, in order to get into Butler University, you had to audition, do 2 different monologues, and there were thousands of people that auditioned to get into 8 slots at one of those audition spots and got my place into Butler University, which was a huge deal.
Yeah.
One, it's here in my backyard, but it was a great theater school. Um, I I go excited that there is no path that I wanted to. I mean, I put my faith. We were told and raised to do, go to school, get good grades, get a good job, be loyal to the hero. Well, my version of taking care of me and their version of taking care of you are two different
Yeah,
things. So,
didn't your
um,
job let you go after 17 years or something like that? How long was it?
yeah, yeah, after 17 years of loyal and giving, sacrificing, um, they replaced me with somebody cheaper than what my
Yeah,
salary was.
I find that tends to be the issue. As we age, we become valuable. So the institutions we work for pay us high salaries, right? Because we're not fresh out of college at 24. And then, but then when you go and you apply for these new positions, in fact, I've got a really good friend of mine. He's a district attorney and he's looking to get out of the state to come to the Midwest. However, one, no one's going to pay him. And two, he'd have to go private sector for him to even match his salary, which is really kind of sad. That's really unfortunate. Mason, you talked a little bit about theater, and I know that's where your heart is. I know that because you put on some plays and you're part of that. What is one common myth about theater or the industry? Oh, okay. Make sure to check out www.livethethrive.com. So Mason,
I'm sorry,
yeah.
what
So
was
so
that
the
question?
question is, so you're definitely a theater guy. You're involved still in theater. You may not have it as a full time gig, but what's one of the biggest common myths about theater?
Um, the biggest common myths. Maybe that actors don't get scared being on stage.
Yeah.
I think that that might be a common misconception. I know that I've been doing theater, live theater for 30 plus years, and I just finished a show where my wife and I played husband and wife on stage, so the chemistry better have been good. But I still got nervous, anxious, excited before we get ready to go. They have before the audience comes in, they're all sitting down, the lights come down, director's speech announces, where the exits are, turn off your cell phones, and invariably somebody doesn't, but doesn't matter. Um, and then it's time to go on stage, and my my armpits are already sweating. I'm hands are clammy, and I'm still nervous. And I've got it. I know the lines. I know the character. I've done this to this point. Probably I've rehearsed this 80 times, so I've got it down. But now there's people, and the great thing about live theater is the show is never the same because we're all humans. And as
Yeah.
much as we want to be robots and provide the same performance each time, it doesn't happen. But the excitement, the nervousness that you get beforehand, if you don't feel that as an actor, then it's time for you to not be on stage anymore because it's one of the greatest feelings.
Everybody has a mentor, a coach, someone that when life kind of sucks or when they get stuck, they get a chance to talk to. Who is your go-to person to talk to when you get stuck?
Well, I mean, it it has to be my dad. Even though he does not get my theater, my passions in theater. Um, he is a rock. He is always there, and I know that I can go to him and he will tell me what he thinks from his very conservative standpoint. And I'm typically not going to agree with him all the time, but I know where he's coming from, and it's always from a point of I just don't want I don't want you to get hurt going down this path.
Yeah.
Or and it's not that he doesn't think that I can't accomplish it. It's just he's seen more things than I have over the course of my life, and had I listened to him more, I probably wouldn't have been in as much problems as I had. But I'm that type of guy who has to learn by touching the flame
Yeah.
versus just listening to the people tell me don't do that. Well, because typically, if somebody tells me not to do that or
You're
you
gonna do it.
can't do that, I'm going to show them that I
That
a
you can.
100% can,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
or I'm going to get hurt trying.
Yeah. That's definitely reverse psychology there. So I know exactly how I can motivate you then, Mason. I know exactly how I can motivate you.
Yep,
Hey, you alluded to this earlier, but I kind of want to go in a little bit more. You're a business owner. You've got multiple businesses. You got a cool story. Really like it's a true American story. Hence the Olympics. Are you watching the Olympics by chance?
I am. Yep.
Yeah, it's that's pretty cool. It's some of the cool stories. However, what is your top strategy for success? Or is it constantly evolving?
I think just evolution is the should be the north star for you as a business owner, because I if I stayed with the same business model that I opened up with in 2014, my business would be closed today. It's just it and it's not gonna get any slower. The speed at which things are changing today versus how quickly they're going to be changing 5 years from now is light speeds faster. If you think about how small your phone is now versus how big your cell phone was when they first came out, it's night and day difference. And those people that want to continue to say, why does everything have to change? I wish things could go back to the way they were. They will never go back. And I just try to it's taken me it's taken me longer than I probably should to accept some of the new things that are going on. But for example, my business, Just Vapor, I did not want to be the face of Just Vapor. I wanted to have build a business and just be okay with providing great customer service and great products, and that be the end of the story. And that lasted for a while, and it could, but things change, and social media allows you to touch more people in a way that when I first started my business, and if I wanted to speak to tens of thousands of people, the only way I could do that was paying for ads through newspapers, radios, television. I can speak to my direct customer um, for free. And as a business owner, there's no better way. You can tell your story, you can help educate and instruct your customer, and it will resonate with the people who want this information because the customer is coming here to their phone now more than ever before to find
Yep.
the answers to all of their questions. When I don't know something, I go to Google. I type in, how do I do X, Y, and Z? It pulls up, and then I can watch videos and I can see and I can go through 5 different versions of my question and their different solutions. And then I can decide, oh, I like this guy's solution or this girl's solution. Let's try this. And the information is there. So while I did wanted to be and wanted to stay a grumpy old man and not grasp onto the new things that are in front of me, that if I don't do that, then I'm going to go extinct.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like it's evolving, right? That's the biggest thing. And the platforms that we have, TikTok, YouTube, we're on YouTube right now live. If you are catching this on the live stream, you guys, you can ask Mason a question on my YouTube channel, Framing New Heights. If you're not, you can head over to that and catching it on a replay. You can definitely could go in the comments because we'll get a bunch of clips out for you when this airs. Mason, what what wakes you up in the morning? You know, and kind of talk to me a little bit about your morning routine, and I'll kind of tell you a little bit about mine. So when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is I say my I am statements, um, and then I will do 5 things that I'm grateful for, and then I put my feet on the side of the bed. I get some water right away, go to the bathroom usually. I'll wash my face immediately. I attempt to do my very best to get some sunlight. Um, and then usually pending, I'm usually on my way to get a workout in or I'm working on my business. Give us a little bit about your morning routine and maybe why you even want to wake up in the morning. Like, what's your motivation? For me, it's my daughter. I get the opportunity. Some may say it's an unfair schedule, but I get the opportunity to provide to be the best father for my daughter. And that's my reason why I wake up in the morning because I didn't have a dad growing up. And my dad was the one that got my mom pregnant and then left and then jumped from job to job when mom attempted to get alimony from him. And I'll never forget, I'm going down the road a little bit here, but I want to share the story and then I'm going to turn it back over to you. Is I remember I was 18 years old. I was pitching for my high school team. My mom shows up with my dad, and then at the end of the game, he asked me if he wanted me to change my last name to his last name. And I was like, no, like you haven't even been around my whole life. You're very fortunate because you've got a father, a loving father. You get someone to go back to. But what's your reason why you wake up in the morning, and what's your motivation? If you can kind of give us your morning ritual, go.
The reason why I wake up in the morning is I just feel like I have too much still left to do. There's my um, my wife loves vampire shows, movies, whatnot, and we always talk about how I would love to have a longer life than what I have right now, than what I'm expected. I wouldn't mind living to be 4, 5, 600 years old. And my wife's like, well, all the people will die around you, and friends come and go. Like and not to say that I don't love you, but I feel like I want to learn
Yeah,
as much as I can. I would love to spend 5 years learning how to be an auto mechanic, a motorcycle mechanic, spend years learning carpentry and plumbing and agriculture, like everything,
Yeah.
because I just want to know how to do things. So that's why I continue. There's too much to do. I have too many things on my checkbox of listings of things to do that I have to do yet. But I wake up in the morning. Usually, tell my wife leaves before I do. My dogs are waking me up and nudging me to get moving. And the first thing I do is I work on my morning mindset. That's when I do the quotes. It's part of it's my visualization, my
Love it.
mantras in the morning is thinking about what items I really need to be focusing on, focusing my energies, and how can I make the first thing that I say or do in the day be a positive, have a positive impact on the people who know me. So that's part of why I do those in the morning. That's the first thing. I find that rarely since I've been doing those morning mindsets, my day, I do not start off in a shitty attitude.
Yeah,
Um,
I always like to say this, and I tell this to my clients often, is pour into your cup first before you let the outside world pour into yours. Because our subconscious, and that's why I love the mindset stuff, has incredible power that we don't even realize. The words that come out of our mouth, our subconscious hears, and it performs to what you say. So I love that. So you do the mindset things that kind of triggers you and your dogs, and then what else?
and we go and walk the dog. Then the dogs and I are walking by. If we're not out the door by 8 o'clock, they are all over me, telling me that we are late to our walk. And then so we do a mile to mile and a half walk. Come back home, water the garden, tend to the garden before we leave. Before I leave, and then either um, at one of my businesses or running around doing errands, picking up supplies and whatnot for the businesses before the customers start to come into the shop. And
Yeah.
then it's doing content either for Just Vapor, the business, or for Freedom for Fathers.
Tell us a
Um,
little bit about Freedom for Fathers, real quick.
I started Freedom for Fathers because I I want to empower other people to make the same decision I did in starting their own business.
Yeah.
And it is a tough road. It's not easy. It's not a lot of people think that starting a business, even a digital business, which you see when you scroll through that I'm making $15,000 a month. I did it in 30 days ago. It's not. It's not. That's all clickbait shit. It doesn't work like that. I mean, maybe if you get lucky and you can get a bunch of people in one time, but
Sure.
it's not a sustainable business. But there is a way for you to truly leverage your knowledge, your experience. Coach, this is you, quite honestly, because you are providing a service and you're doing it. You're getting customers, clientele through the use of social media.
Yeah.
So it's not possible. And I know that when we were raised, we were taught that getting a job is the safe and secure thing that you should do. And that's not that's what they want employees to think.
Robots. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
We're
And
that mindset's just got to go. And everybody's like, well, I got to have a paycheck. Well, how do you know your paycheck? It could just be what you're getting from a job. If you started your own business, the sky's the limit. That's one thing with the education system. I realized when I was in it, I could only go here. I could have my master's degree. I'm in administration, blah blah blah. Well, what's next? Superintendent? Do I want to pick up? You know what I mean? Like it's like no. So go and live your life. And if you got dreams, live them. Go for them. You have life so short, Mason. Life's so short that if you can miss out on so much stuff. You talked about living to 400 years old. I want the opportunity. I pray often to my creator is like, Lord, just allow me to be on this planet long enough so that when my day does come, that excuse me, that my daughter's ready and she's good. That's my biggest thing. But I hear you though. I hear you. Like I feel like I got to do this and I got to do this and there's so many other big things going on, and I really respect that immensely. Mason, what could you share your top three books you've been reading recently, or any recommendations to the audience?
Um, I love Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. That um, Matthew is sort of, I feel like, a very kindred spirit to how I would want to be as a professional actor. His mentality of I don't really give a shit what other people think of me, and how he took control of his acting career. He was for a long time, that rom com guy and made a lot of money doing that. But then he wanted to change and pivot to something else, and he had to walk away from Hollywood for 3 to 5 years before, and then inserted himself back in by picking roles that he wanted to work on. And I love that book and I love his mentality. Um, so that's book number one. I just finished Hook Point by Brendan Kane. So if you are a marketer, a business owner, and in this world of social media, that is a phenomenal book for you to get some strategy and understanding. It's businesses pay other businesses lots and millions of dollars to come up with marketing strategies. You as a business owner are trying to compete with the big dogs. And if you don't understand, you can't just throw stuff on the wall and hope that it sticks. You've got to have a strategy behind what you're doing and saying to your future customers. So I would suggest reading Hook Point. That will help you out.
Love
And I'm looking forward to Wednesday. I'm getting Coach Building by Donald Miller.
it. Okay.
If you haven't read that, he's the same author who did who wrote a story brand. And story brand building is the new and active marketing strategy. Everybody wants a story and not just, hey, look, here's my product. You have to build a story behind it. But Coach Building is his newest book, and I'm looking forward to reading that as well. So,
That's good. And thank you for sharing that, Mason. Um, the one that I'm reading right now is called Quiet Strength by Tony Dungy. It's a good one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a good one.
I
Hey,
loved Coach Dungy.
yeah, of course you would, because he was in
Yes,
it. Yeah,
absolutely. He
yeah,
got us the Super Bowl win.
yeah.
So,
He's a
and he's a phenomenal guy.
100%.
Just 100% top notch guy.
I agree. What's next for you?
Next is I am working on creating a how to quit vaping guide for people. Um, that's going to be coming out, I would say, within the next 3 to 4 weeks. I'm going to finish that. I want to be able to help people just beyond my
Awesome.
suburb of Indianapolis and city of Indianapolis. And um, the more I can get that information out there, and I want to build a groundswell of support from not just my shop, but once I proof of concept at my shop, I want this to be disseminated out to all the other shops, and we build a groundswell of support for and showing that this is and can be a legitimate path for people to get off of cigarettes and onto a healthier, safer way for them to get off of it altogether. What I don't want is people to just get off of smoking and stay vaping the rest of their life. I want it to be a transition,
Love
just
it.
like
Love
just
it.
like it should be.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
if we frame it this way and know that yes, if we just say, yes, we know smoking is bad. We know that we don't want this in the hands of kids. This is made for adults, but can and should be a path for people off of what we know is a death sentence, smoking, to something that is a better transition, and then the ultimate goal for them is to get off of nicotine altogether. That is the message and
I
what we
love it.
really should be talking about. So that's
That's
what I'm working on
that's
next.
that's beautiful, Mason. That's so much value and so many contexts. And hey, I just want to say this before we end today. I got one more question right after this statement that I'm going to make. Is I appreciate the shout outs. I appreciate um, the reels and things like you did for my coaching business. Significantly appreciate that. That meant a lot. Last question for you tonight, and then anything else you want to add. Where can our listeners learn more about you?
You can follow me on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Freedom for Fathers one, on all of those platforms. Just Vapor on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I do a lot. I'm sure there's going to be another profile, another thing that I'm going to be doing here in probably another 6 months to a year. Who knows? Just
Uh,
there's too much to do, but
I agree.
um, reach out. The only thing that I have left to say is I I really want to impress on to everybody out there that whatever you truly want and desire is possible. You are the only one that's holding you back. And the moment you start to believe and put those past failures, and I don't even like to call them failures because they were just experiments that didn't give you the result that you really wanted, but you got a result out of it
Yep.
and you should have learned something from it. And the more you do that, the less it'll happen and you will reach your goal. Maybe you need a coach, maybe you need some help along the way. We all need a little bit of help, and you shouldn't be afraid to ask for that help because we don't get where we're at alone. This is a team
100%.
sport. It takes a
Yep.
village.
Sure does. And that's well said. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it all on Framing New Heights. My name is Michael Hicks with Mason Odle. Until next time, 1% better in mind, body, and soul. And always put them up, Mason. Stay
Stay
flat.
flexed.
Hold on 1 second, bud.